So I saw this clip from Shroud.
This right here is telling me that tac shooters on PC are done. If Fragpunk can't do it, this is a high quality tactical shooter. Probably the highest quality tactical shooter we've gotten since Valorant 5 years ago. This right here, I mean, it's going to keep going down. It just will. And it's inevitable. They're just done. There's no more. You have Siege, you have Valorant, and Counter-Strike. There's no room for any more. Like that, it's just been told. It's done.
So in this clip, Shroud talks about, basically the fact that tactical shooters are failing, and if you're not, the big three, you won't have any success. You have like, maybe like a honeymoon phase where everyone talks about you, but eventually you will just fall off after like a few weeks or even just a month. The question is why? Well, that's always been kind of a thing with games. In gaming, there's always been games that, there's the top tier and then there's everybody else. In MOBAs, you had, League of Legends and Dota, and then it was pretty much like you kind of throw in Smite a little bit, but, Smite has always kind of been viewed as League of Legends for people who aren't good enough to play League. But outside of those games, though, nothing else works. Everything else fails. And it comes to like, games like Overwatch and Marvel Rivals, Rivals' success comes from the fact that it's a Marvel game that just pasted the Overwatch formula and it allows it to be a success. But generally, when it comes to that style of game, you only get just those two and that's it. When it comes to arena shooters, it was always just, Halo and Gears of War. Everyone else just couldn't compete. Even when it came to like Doom and Quake, you couldn't really have the same success as Halo and Gears of War. So tactical shooters are the exact same way. There's Counter-Strike, Valorant, and there's Siege. Everything else is just a fad that comes out and then eventually gets ignored or forgotten. The question becomes, again, the why. Why does that happen? Is it a marketing thing? Is it the games themselves not being good enough? Is it, the community itself? Like, what's the reason? Well, everything is just on a spectrum. That's a common thing that I always say. But the biggest reason is gamers don't want to try new things. There was a study that 60% of gamers don't play new games. They play games that are 5 years old or free to play. And at the same time, like I said before, gamers don't want to learn anything new. It's easier to just play what you know than go out there and experience something new that could backfire on you. If you're good at Rainbow Six Siege, for example, you don't want to have to go learn to play Fragpunk because you won't be as good at Fragpunk as you were at Siege. Like if you're someone who's mechanically always been good at FPS games, that mechanical skill is going to translate to any shooter. But there's always things about any shooter that comes out where your mechanical skill won't get you so far. You have to learn how to do other things. So when it comes to like I said, being good at Siege, then going to play Fragpunk, you are going to go through a learning phase, and at some point during the learning phase, you're going to say, "Screw this! This game sucks," and play something else. Now the game doesn't suck, but you keep losing games or dying, and now you got to find a reason for why you're losing and dying. So you got to blame the game. So you go back to Rainbow Six Siege, or you go back to Counter-Strike, you go back to Valorant. That's how it is with most games. So if someone plays Call of Duty, and they go say they're like, "Oh, Call of Duty sucks. I hate this game now. I'm playing this game for X number of years. I'm tired of Call of Duty." They go play Battlefield, get stumped in Battlefield. They go on a rant and call the game bad. It's dumb to have all these vehicles. These maps are too big. There's too many freaking players. They give you all these excuses why the game is bad when it's like those are the core things of that game. That's the game's identity that you're calling bad. Now the game that's bad, it's you who are bad, and it's you who don't want to learn to get better. Because at the end of the day, games are competitive, and all of us wants to be, that guy or be him or be her. We don't have a saying for people who are non-binary. It's kind of unfortunate. But anyways, everyone wants to make those TikTok clips or make clips for their YouTube videos or YouTube shorts or things to show off their friends to and things to like brag about. So when you go play something new and you're not the top guy in that game, you're like, all right, well, I can't clip anything here. I can't show off that I'm a good player here because I'm getting beat by people who are experienced at this. So that it kind of becomes a thing. That's why these games are failing. One, they're new and people don't play new games, but two, people don't want to go through a learning phase where they're getting cooked. The onboarding and learning curve of a video game plays a big role in success. As I mentioned before, most games that try to compete with Overwatch fail. The Rivals didn't. Why? One, like I said before, Marvel. But two, because the onboarding process for Rivals wasn't a big learning curve. If you know how to play Overwatch, you know how to play Rivals. You could basically, it was a plug and play situation. If you knew how one game worked, you know how the second game worked. Whereas like other games, that's not how it works. If you're good at Halo it doesn't automatically mean you'll be good at Gears of War. And if you're good at Gears of War, it doesn't automatically mean you'll be good at Halo or good at Quake or good at any other arena shooter. It doesn't mean you'll be good at Splitgate automatically. Because other games have different mechanics that just work differently, have different, had a different way to how their guns work, how their aiming works, how matchmaking works, how individual things work. Like if you might be good at Valorant or good at Counter-Strike, but you might not be good at Rogue Company. And vice versa. If you're good at Rogue Company, you might not be good at those games. Because these games all perform differently. So again, the onboarding process and learning curve plays a big role in people sticking with the game. People can only deal with getting their ass beat for so long. And modern gamers aren't really into learning how to get better. Modern gamers, they want that instant satisfaction. Because again, we're in the TikTok era. And in the TikTok era, you want constant satisfaction. You want quick satisfaction. You don't want to have to wait. You don't want to have to learn to play a game, for a month or 2 months or however long it might take you to learn to get better at a game. You want to just jump right in and be good at it immediately. And if you're not, you just move on and call the game bad, and you go back to what you were good at. Now, if you're older generation, that doesn't really work with you. For you, you're not part of the TikTok generation, so you're more inclined to sit with the game, learn how its mechanics work, and get better at it. Whereas other people aren't, because they're not part of the generation that you're part of. Generally, it's a simplistic situation where it's pretty obvious why these games fail. People don't want to learn new things. People don't want to get embarrassed. People don't want to feel like they're bad at a video game, especially because it's kind of disheartening. Because if you're playing a game such as competitive online and you're doing poorly, what happens? You get messages people from the other team or your team. You get people in game chats saying things about you and things like that. You don't want to be in that situation. Most people don't mean the situation. I should say. Some people don't care. Some people, they mute the entire, they mute the entire freaking lobby, or they have messages turned off, so that's what they have to deal with. But for a lot of people out there, they don't want to have to, be in a situation where they're being looked at as the cause of why they're losing games. But this was supposed to be a quick video. I just want to kind of talk about the Shroud clip and give my 2 cents on it. But I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Leave any thoughts you have in the comment section below. I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Link tree below for the Twitch stream and all that good stuff. Your boy, New Team Archer out here. Deuces.